बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Srimad Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajikacharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Vyasadev Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So before I begin, I seek the blessings of His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj and all the senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. By your best wishes, prayers and blessings, may the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, purifying our consciousness and pulling our hearts closer and closer to the transcendental, eternal, loving lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. Vanchakalpatru. So today we are celebrating, according to the Gaudiya Vaishnava calendar, the auspicious appearance day of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. It is described in Shastra that Siddhir Bhavati Va Neti, those who serve Sri Krishna, Samshayo Chuta Sevinam, those who serve Krishna, there may be some doubt whether or not they will get perfected. Siddhir Bhavati Va Neti, Samshayo Chuta Sevinam, Nisamshayostu tad bhakta paricharya ratatmana. Just like those who serve Sri Krishna, in Shastra it is described, there may be doubt whether or not they will attain perfection. But those who speak about those who are pure devotees, those who remember and serve the pure devotees of Sri Krishna, according to Shastra, there is absolutely no doubt in the perfection that is attained by such Vaishnavas. So it is wonderful to serve Krishna, but it is more glorious an occasion to remember, to serve, to read, to hear, and to contemplate about the lives of great Vaishnavas like Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur appeared in the year 1507, and he manifested his pastimes for about 82 years in this world. He departed in the year 1589. And his appearance and disappearance tithis are pretty close. He appeared on the Dwadashi of the Krishna Paksha of the Vaishak month, that is today. And he disappeared on the Dashami of the same Krishna Paksha of the same month of Vaishak many years later. So in a span of 48 hours, we celebrate the appearance and disappearance day of Srila Vyasadeva Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur is the original author of Chaitanya Leela. Mataji, maybe the phone can kindly come down. Yeah. So that there's complete focus on the discussion. Thank you. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's the original biographer in the life and teachings of Chaitanya Leela. In Gaura Ganodesh Deepika, Srila Kavi Karnapur has described the identity of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. He explains as follows: Veda Vyaso ya evasid daso Vrindavano dhuna sakhaya kusuma pidaha karyatastam samavishat. Veda Vyas, the author, the compiler of the Vedas, became Vrindavan Das Thakur. Krishna's friend in Vrindavan, Kusuma Pida, also entered into him for the sake of the Lord's pastimes. So this is why you see Vrindavan Das Thakur, being a cowherd boy eternally as Kusuma Pida, has affinity for Nityananda Prabhu, who also is his guru, and spends a lot of time in Chaitanya Bhagavat glorifying Nityananda Prabhu, so much so that after describing the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the boyhood, the childhood, the boyhood pastimes, the scholastic pastimes, the pastimes like the defeating of the Digvijay Pandit, and also opposition against Chand Kazi, you see that the book becomes quite voluminous just in the glorification of Nityananda Prabhu. That Vrindavan Das Thakur later says, I haven't been able to describe all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu because my pen went in the direction of glorifying Sri Nityananda Prabhu, my Gurudev. And he describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the master of his master. That's the attachment Vrindavan Das Thakur shows as a cowherd boy to Nityananda Ram, who is Balaram, Adi Guru. Also, it is described that Vrindavan Das Thakur appeared from the womb of Narayani Devi. We want to spend some time discussing the family connections of Srivas Thakur and Vrindavan Das Thakur. So Srivas Thakur, there are 5 brothers in total. The oldest is Nalini Pandit, then is Srivas Pandit, then Sriram Pandit, then Sripati Pandit, and then Sri Nidhi Pandit. These are the 5 brothers. So the oldest one there is Nalini Pandit or Nalina Pandit, described in parallel editions. The son of Nalina Pandit is Narayani Devi, who happens to be the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Son is Narayani Devi, who is the daughter, yes, sorry. The daughter, please forgive me, the daughter of Nalina Pandit is Narayani Devi, who happens to be the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Also, the connection to Vrindavan Das Thakur is through the other side of the family, where we find Srivas Thakur lived in Navadvip, whose wife, Malini Devi, comes from Mamgachi, which is one of the 9 islands in Navadvip. It's present in Modadrumadvip, which is one of the 9 islands in Navadvip. In Navadvip is Modadrumadvip, in Modadrumadvip is Mamgachi, from where Malini Devi, the wife of Srivas, she appears. Now, in her family appeared a great Brahmana by the name Vaikuntanath Vipra, who in the future happens to be the husband of Narayani Devi and the father of Vrindavan Das Thakur. So, to simplify things, on one side we have Srivas Thakur from Navadvip, and on the other side we have his wife, Malini Devi from Mamgachi. And from Srivas Thakur's brother's daughter's womb is Vrindavan Das Thakur. So Narayani Devi is the daughter of Nalina Pandit, who is the older brother of Srivas. And from Malini Devi's family, you have Vaikuntanath Vipra, who happens to be the future husband of Narayani Devi, and therefore the father of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada explains that although Vaikuntanath Vipra, the father of Vrindavan Das Thakur, appeared from the same family as Malini Devi, not much is spoken about him, because before he departed, he did not prove his allegiance or devotion and faith to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore the Gaudiya Vaishnavas don't spend so much time speaking about him. And they link Vrindavan Das Thakur to, instead of being from his patriarchal side, they glorify him from his mother's family. Also we find Malini Devi from Mamgachi, after she got married, she came to Navadvip in the house of Srivas. And the opposite of that, we find Narayani Devi, after she got married to Vaikuntanath, she moved to Mamgachi. And that's where Vrindavan Das Thakur appeared. But very soon after, his father departed. With his mother, they moved back to the town of Navadvip and lived in the house of Srivas. This is also connected in another way. According to Gaura Ganadesh Deepika, we find that Srivas is the incarnation of Narada Muni. And we find Vrindavan Das Thakur is the incarnation of Vyasadeva. And we saw that in the start of Srimad Bhagavatam manifested in this world when Vyasa took shelter of Narada. So we find similarly, Chaitanya Bhagavat also makes his appearance here in this world by Vrindavan Das Thakur, who's an incarnation of Vyasadeva, taking shelter of Narada Muni, who is Srivas in Gaura Leela, in the house of Srivas in Navadvip. Quite beautiful. There's another, maybe a little confusing, but it's just brilliant to know all the connections from both family sides. Everything connected to a pure devotee is Leela Amrit, is ocean of nectar. Another wonderful link that we find in Gaur Ganadesh Deepika regarding the identity of Narayani Devi, the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur, is as follows. Kavi Karnapur describes, Ambikaya swasa yasin namni Shrila Kilimbika Krishno Chishtam Prabunjana Seyam Narayani Mata. Kilimbika, who used to eat Krishna's remnants, was the younger sister of the nurse Ambika. So there's a nurse called Ambika, the associate of Mother Yashoda in Vrindavan, and her younger sister is Kilimbika. And it's interesting, Ambika and Kilimbika both make their appearance in Gaura Leela. How do they make their appearance? Ambika, who's the nurse of Krishna and the assistant of Mother Yashoda, appears in Gaura Leela as Malini Devi, the wife of Srivas. And Kilimbika makes her presence in Gaura Leela as Narayani Devi. So just like we find Vyasa take shelter of Narada, Vrindavan Das Thakur is taking shelter of Srivas. Similarly, on the feminine side, we see Narayani Devi is the incarnation of Kilimbika, who is the younger sister of Ambika, who appeared as Malini Devi. So it's so brilliant, so beautiful. Gaura Leela is so wonderful. And also we find Narayani Devi, the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur, has been so wonderfully glorified in connection with the Mahaprakash Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu performed the 21 hours of ecstatic pastimes, which is called the Sat Prahar Leela. Sat means 7, and Prahar means 3 hours. So Sat Prahar Leela is 7 times 3, that is 21 hours of ecstatic singing and dancing. And then we find in the Mahaprakash Leela, in the house of Srivas, Mahaprabhu sat on the altar of Vishnu, and he showed his transcendental position, opulent position as the Supreme Lord. He accepted the offerings of everyone. He was bathed by the holy waters of the Ganga. And he was fulfilling the benedictions, the desires, and giving the benedictions and boons to all the devotees. Srivas was quite bewildered because Mahaprabhu was a staunch preacher of the fact that the jiva cannot be God. And here is Srivas in his own home witnessing the Lord taking on his full opulent position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we find there, when Mahaprabhu was calling on every devotee and fulfilling their desires, he called Srivas too. And Srivas was quite scared. Why? Because he had heard of so many rumors that the soldiers were coming they had filled up the boats and they were crossing the Ganga as the associates of Chand Kazi and the Nawab, and they're coming to punish Srivas because Srivas was performing all night long the nocturnal kirtans at his home, and this was quite a disturbance for those from the other faith, even for the Brahmanas in the same faith. So Srivas was quite scared. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him, Srivas was trembling. And Mahaprabhu said, "Why are you so scared? Don't you know who I am? Are you scared of the opposition? Are you scared of the soldiers and the ministers and the followers of the king, the Muslim king? Don't you know I am the Paramatma in their heart? I can change their desires. And if they still don't change, I can face them when they come in front of me, full of boat of soldiers, the boat full of soldiers, when they come, I will face them. And if they still don't change, then I will call upon all their priests and tell them to read from their holy scriptures and make their elephants and horses and camels dance in ecstasy. And when they will fail miserably, I will chant the holy name and induce the camels and the elephants and the horses to horripilate with hair standing on end, voice choking. They will be rolling in the dust of Navadvip, and I will show everyone the potency of the empowerment in my body. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki. And Srivas was trembling, not just out of fear, but because of ecstatic proclamation that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was blessing him with. And then Mahaprabhu looked at Srivas and he said, you don't have faith in my empowerment? I will give you a little display of the fragment of my splendor. There was Narayani, 4-year-old little girl, the future mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Narayani, 4-year-old, is there in the Mahaprakash Leela. And Mahaprabhu looked at Narayani, said, Narayani, come close. And the little girl came close, and Mahaprabhu touched her head and said, chant Hare Krishna. And Narayani was crying, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Mahaprabhu would feed the remnants of his plate with his own hands to this little girl, Narayani. Narayani, whose body was nourished by the glance, by the empowered preaching and the singing of Mahaprabhu, and the prasadam, remnants of his plate. That transcendental body, that transcendental womb became the source of Vyasadeva Vrindavan Das Thakur's appearance in this world. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the exalted author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in his writings, he embarks on his journey very carefully, the journey of writing Chaitanya Leela. Because just from a historic standpoint, Vrindavan Das Thakur appeared in the year 1507. And he completed Chaitanya Bhagavat in the year 1535, which means Vrindavan Das Thakur was 28 or 29 years old when he finished his magnum opus, Chaitanya Bhagavat. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita was complete in the year 1581, which means Chaitanya Bhagavat predates Chaitanya Charitamrita by around 45 years. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was a few years apart from Vrindavan Das Thakur, was almost of the same generation. So he embarks on this journey of writing Gaura Leela with so much caution, because he doesn't want to be perceived as someone who is breaking the principle of Maryada, which is called as Maryada Vyatikraman, which means to surpass or to walk over the work of a predecessor Acharya. So he writes with so much caution, with so much care, with so much etiquette. Let's hear from the writings of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami what he thinks about Vyasadeva Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat. There are very beautiful verses that are found, and there are also 10 standout benefits of reading Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is from Adi Leela chapter 8 and also from other sections of Madhya Leela, compiled together by Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. Ore mudha loka shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima jate jani beshakal, Krishna Leela Bhagavate kahe Veda Vyas, Chaitanya Leela Ravyas Vrindavan Das. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, O fools, that's how he begins. Ore mudha, O fools of this world, please don't come to my work. Don't read my book. If you really want to get some direction, come to my book so that I can point the direction towards Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat. Ore mude loka shuna Chaitanya Mangal. And it's interesting, Vrindavan Das Thakur's work was originally called Chaitanya Mangal. Later, Lochan Das Thakur wrote a book with the same name. So therefore, Lochan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Mangal was retained, and Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Mangal was renamed to be Chaitanya Bhagavat. So the first benefit, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Janibe Shakal. That by reading Chaitanya Bhagavat of Vrindavan Das Thakur, all the truths of Gaura Leela will be revealed to the reader. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would read Chaitanya Bhagavat regularly. In fact, he would advise the residents of the Gaudiya Math to read Chaitanya Bhagavat 108 times in their life. Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur loved this work so much that he gives an introduction to the book. He also gives a detailed purport to every verse of Chaitanya Bhagavat. In fact, Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada even goes on to say that if you're stranded all alone in a desert, then this is the only book you need to have with you. Not to forget, Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said something very similar about Chaitanya Charitamrita. That shows his affinity and love for Gaura Leela. So this is the first benefit of reading Chaitanya Bhagavat, that all the truths, which means the tattva and the leela of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, will be revealed to the reader. The second benefit of reading Chaitanya Bhagavat. Brindavana dasa kaila Chaitanya mangal, jahara shravane nashe sarva amangal. If we are struggling with anarthas, which is natural for a conditioned soul in this material world, Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat, says Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is the remedy, is the solution, it is the solace for the heart which is burning with anarthas. So the second benefit is anarthas, inauspicious vices in the heart, will be destroyed just by hearing this work. The more and more we hear Vyasadeva, Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat, all inauspiciousness will be removed. The third benefit, and these are all words from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita, knowing about Chaitanya Bhagavat. Because when we want to know how good a mathematician someone is, it's best to go and ask other mathematicians, what do you think of this mathematician? Because even to appreciate a mathematician, one should be proficient in mathematics to know how great a person is. So if we ask poets about poets, they will tell you how great a poet is. And if you ask singers about other singers, if they're not envious, they will definitely glorify those singers. So it takes one to know one. It takes a Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to reveal the glories of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Now the third benefit of studying Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya nitair jate janiye mahima, jate jani Krishna bhakti siddhante rasima. One will become a great Krishna devotee, a Krishna bhakta, by reading Chaitanya Leela. Isn't it amazing that when you read Krishna Leela, the seed of Gaura Leela is present there? Because when you hear about Radha and Krishna, then naturally there is union and separation in their pastimes. So their desire to become one is naturally found in Krishna Leela. So the seed of Gaura Leela is present in Krishna Leela. And then when we go through the pages of Gaura Leela, we find the fruit of Krishna Leela there. Because in Gaura Leela, everyone's discussing Krishna Leela. So in Krishna Leela, there is Gaura Leela, and in Gaura Leela, there is Krishna Leela. So by studying Chaitanya Bhagavat, the third benefit is bhakti, or devotion for Krishna, will increase. Now this is the fourth benefit of studying Chaitanya Bhagavat. Bhagavate jata bhakti siddhante rasal likhiya chen iha jani kariya udhar. The fourth benefit is love for Srimad Bhagavatam will deepen. How is that? Because Vrindavan Das Thakur, in his Chaitanya Bhagavat, time and again quotes verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. We find this is quite amazing, that when we study Chaitanya Bhagavat and we study Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find so many nectar verses of Bhagavatam quoted there. In fact, for me personally, when I first read Srimad Bhagavatam, I couldn't appreciate the verses as much as I appreciated those verses when I read through the pages of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrit or Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat. Because you see the context of the usage of those verses. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you see the verses. But in Gaura Leela, whether it's Chaitanya Charitamrit or Chaitanya Bhagavat, you see how the Vaishnavas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and others, relish those verses of the Bhagavatam. So the depth and the height of those verses can be seen through the works of Gaura Leela. So this is the fourth benefit. By studying Chaitanya Bhagavat, love for Srimad Bhagavatam and appreciation for those verses will deepen. Now the fifth benefit. Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan Shehi Mahavaishnava Hoye Tathakshan. All doubts will be removed from the heart, and one will become a Tattvavit and a Rasavit Vaishnav, which means doubts will be out and a person will become quite staunch in their understanding of Tattva, in their understanding of Leela, in their understanding of transcendental mellows, and in their personal practice of Vaishnav Sadachar. You see, when we study Krishna Leela, we understand the pastimes of Krishna, the glory and the sweetness of Krishna. But when we see Gaura Leela, apart from relishing Krishna Leela through Gaura Leela, we also learn the beauty of Vaishnav relationships. We see how Vaishnavas are non-envious. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is glorifying Vrindavan Das Thakur. We appreciate the humility of Sanatan Goswami, the tolerance of Haridas Thakur, and so on and so forth. So the fifth benefit is one will learn not just Tattva, the Rasa, the Leela, one will also become quite ripened in Vaishnav Sadachar. Manushe rachite nare aiche grantha dhanya Vrindavana dasa mukhe vakta Shri Chaitanya. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad says, this book, although it manifests through Vrindavan Das Thakur, one should never think Vrindavan Das Thakur to be the author of this book. He is the medium for the manifestation, the appearance of this book, which is ultimately manifested in this world by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. It's amazing that in the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada writes, and I quote, Srila Prabhupada writes, the secret in a devotee's writing is that when he writes about the pastimes of the Lord helps him. He does not write it alone. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayantite. Since a devotee writes in the service of the Lord from within gives him so much intelligence that he sits down near the Lord and goes on writing his books. This is Srila Prabhupada's experience, because Srila Prabhupada would hear his own Krishna book, and when asked, Prabhupada, you're reading and hearing your own book, and Srila Prabhupada would dismiss that by saying, I am not the author. Krishna is writing these books. He is dictating these books, and I am simply following his dictation. So Prabhupada is actually saying that when a devotee surrenders to Krishna and sits near the Lord, and he goes on writing the books, it's Krishna who empowers. Then Srila Prabhupada continues in the purport. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami confirms that what Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote in his Chaitanya Bhagavat was actually spoken to him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. It's amazing that this is quite a recurring theme even towards the end of Narottam Das Thakur's Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Narottam Das Thakur says, anyone who thinks that I have written this work is completely misled. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who dictated this work to me, and I simply penned it down. Similarly, in the start of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we find Sri Rupa Goswami Pad saying that Hridi yasya prernaya pravartitoham varaka rupopi tasya harehe padakamalam vande Chaitanya devasya. Rupa Goswami states in the start of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that this work is manifesting through me, but is dictated to me by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is the author. Similarly, here the author for this book, the pen for this book is Vrindavan Das Thakur, but the author for the book is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Now the sixth benefit of studying Chaitanya Bhagavat. वृंदावन दास पदे कोटि नमस्कार ऐछे ग्रंथ करीते हो तरिला samsar. By studying this book, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad says, one will surely get liberated in one life. The more you study this book, the Leelas of Mahaprabhu get imprinted in the heart. It's interesting that there were two original note makers of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. One was Murari Gupta and the other was Swarup Damodar Goswami. Murari Gupta's notebook became the reference for Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Swarup Damodar's notebook became the reference through Raghunath Das Goswami for Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita to manifest. And they both focus on two aspects of Mahaprabhu. Vrindavan Das Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat focuses on the pre-sannyas pastimes of Mahaprabhu. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami focuses more on the post-sannyas pastimes, namely the Madhya Leela, the travels of Mahaprabhu, and the Antya Leela, the ecstatic bliss of Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. The seventh benefit now of studying Chaitanya Bhagavat. Taraki Adbhuta Chaitanya Charita Varnan Jahara Shravane Shuddha Kaila Tribhuvan. Consciousness will get cleansed by studying this work. One will develop pure sentiments, one will get empowered in their service, and slowly but surely one will go from tamasoma jyotirgamaya, from the darkness of this world to the light of that world. Then, the eighth benefit of studying Chaitanya Bhagavat. Nityananda Kripa Patra Vrindavana Das Chaitanya Leelaye te hoye Adi Vyas Tara age yadyapi saba leelar bhandar তথাপি অল্প বর্ণিয়া ছাড়িলেন আর যে কিছু বর্ণিল সেই সংক্ষেপ করিয়া লিখিতে না পারে তবু রাখিয়াছে লিখিয়া. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad says, because Vrindavan Das Thakur is the receptacle of mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and is a devout follower of Nityananda Prabhu, therefore those who study this book will get the mercy of the Guru Parampara. This is the eighth benefit. Love for Gaur Nitai and the mercy of the Guru Parampara is the eighth benefit of studying this work. The ninth benefit. Chaitanya Leela te vyas Vrindavana das Tara kripa bine anya nahaye prakash. The ninth benefit is one gets empowered to become a very powerful preacher in this world. Because who preaches in this world? Gaur Nitai preach in this world. And those who take shelter of their lotus feet become recipients of their mercy. So this is the ninth benefit. One becomes an excellent preacher. And finally, the 10th benefit that is described here is Chaitanya Leelamrita Sindhu Dugdhabdi Saman Trishnano Rupa Jhari Bhari Teho Kailapan Tara Jhari Sheshamrita Kichu Mora Dila Tata Ke Bharila Pet Trishna Mora Gela. One's material thirst will go away forever, and one's spiritual thirst will go on forever. One will overcome material thirst, and one will become extremely greedy for spiritual thirst. To conclude, Vyasadeva Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives a brilliant example. He says, Gaura Leela is like an ocean of milk, and Vrindavan Das Thakur has taken a pot full of satisfaction. He has dipped his pot of Chaitanya Bhagavat in the ocean of milk of Gaura Leela, and he has left a few drops for me, drinking which I have become completely satisfied. So in this way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami expresses his appreciation, his non-envious glorification, and teaches us how one should be extremely careful of Vaishnav etiquette and not surpassing the Acharya who has worked in that certain field. So with this, we pray to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur that may a drop of his love for Gaur Nitai appear in our heart, and we can prioritize the study of Chaitanya Bhagavat along with Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrit in our lives. Vyasadev Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki. So if there are any questions or comments. Yes, Mother. I think 33, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Maharaj.
Is there any way you can give us the reference to those verses by
Sure, Maharaj. I can share. Sure, I will. I will do it by the end of the day. These are verses from Madhya Leela and Adi Leela, and they have been compiled together by Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the introduction to Chaitanya Bhagavat. Yeah. Yeah. It's there in the introduction to Chaitanya Bhagavat. Yeah. Are there any other reflections, questions, or corrections? Yes. Does certainly. Yeah, 10 benefits in studying Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Yeah. Definitely there was an overlap, because we find Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami stating that I received the blessings and the approval of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur departed in this world in the year 1589, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami departed in the year 1588. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami appeared at least 10 years before Vrindavan Das Thakur, 1496, I believe. And Vrindavan Das Thakur is 1507, so that's good 11 years. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is older. Right, right. Jai. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad ki, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit ki, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki, Vyasadev Vrindavan Das Thakur ki, Sri Shri Radha Golokananda ki, Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvan
Namago Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Putodaya Shimate Bhakti Vedanta Namanichi Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurani Vacha Nege Nivesesha Shunyavare Masya Jagade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityan Nanda Shri Advaita Vedanta Sivasari Going back to Vrinda Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Nana Rabanityanana Jidvaita Gadada Sivasadi Gauramadurina Nayas Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityanan Naga Jidvaita Gadada Sivasadi Gauramadurina Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Narat, Goloka, Goloka, Rate. Narat, Goloka, Goloka, Rate. Narat. Hey, Nare, 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 Nare. Shri Radha, Jai Om Vishnupad.
Chaitodarpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakriba Bhagavan Mamapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Burdao Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya. Thank you. I am Guru Araya Vadanam Gad Gurudat Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bhavashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahena Me Ashlisha Vapadamatam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lampato Mat Prananatastu Sa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so. He handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shaska Ki Jai. Thank you, Mother Radharangini, for dressing the deities. It's a Ekadasi, and they look so nice in their nice pink and white attire. And also downstairs in the kitchen, I know there's a crew making a nice offering for Ekadasi, for the deities, for Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. I'd like to thank Amarendra Prabhu for giving a wonderful class about the appearance day of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Haribo. And this week we're having Harinam on Sunday. It's going to, because it's Saturday's a really busy day. And so Sunday at Weaver Street Market between 11:30 and 1. So it's going to be a nice day. Everyone, please, if you can come, and bless all the inhabitants of Hillsborough, at least the ones coming to shop at Weaver Street on Sunday. Yeah, the reason we're having our Harinam on Sunday is that Saturday is a very big day. It's the Sadhana plus and the 6-hour kirtan in the afternoon. So it's going to be a really full day on Saturday. Hare Krishna.